Mason.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, I'm sitting here with Mason Miller, 2024 All Star. How does that sound for you?
Sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's an honor to have that.
What was your reaction when you first got the news that you would be going to Texas?
It was honestly a relief to know. I mean, we always run it close to the day. Obviously I was hopeful with the year I'm putting together, but just to know and let the family know was a big load off. Now it's just the enjoying it and the excitement leading up to it, and then obviously taking in every moment I get it there.
Who was the the first person that you called, and what was their reaction?
My wife Jordan was my first call.
Yeah.
She was actually traveling here. We found out Sunday she was at the airport getting ready to board the flight here. So we'd obviously talked about it, and just planning for us whether it was going to be. We were finishing the first half in Philly, being from Pittsburgh. Probably just going to drive home if it didn't work out. But now to get to head down to Dallas, enjoy those couple of days, it's going to be great.
Do you have a suit for the parade yet? Because Kenley Jansen from the other side said that the first thing that you need to get is a good suit, and that's the first rookie mistake he made when he was named All Star. Do you have a suit yet?
I got a suit, yeah.
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 Oh, can you say what color it is?
Light blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Going with the light blue. What's the undershirt?
White.
Nice,
with a little gray and blue tie.
Nice. And is your wife going with you?
She is, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I remember watching you just pivot. I remember watching you over in Boston, when Boston was visiting Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting in the press box, and you came in to pitch that first night. And me and my colleague Alex Spear looked at you kind of like, holy crap, this kid has some stuff with him. Where did that come from? I know a little bit about your journey in terms of going to Gardner-Webb, but then all of a sudden you started throwing 99, 100 miles per hour. When was the first time you hit 100 miles per hour?
First time was post-draft. So I got drafted in 21 in the third round, and getting out to rookie ball, being able to have kind of all the professional metrics and analytics that we didn't really have access to in college. That was the first time I saw it. I think maybe I may have hit it in college, but be able to go back and watch it the first time was after the draft in Arizona.
What was your reaction? Was it like, did you know it was coming? Did you know it was in there?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of just base it off of a hitter's swings, and I think just the way that I'm able to throw the fastball, I always kind of know I have an explosive fastball, whether it's coming in at 99 or 102. Just kind of the swings hitters are taking on it, and the spin, the carry, all that kind of plays a factor too.
And you went Division III,
mm-hmm.
and tell us a little bit about that. You went Division III, and all of a sudden, I think I believe you had diabetes, and then you were diagnosed with diabetes, and then all of a sudden you saw an uptick in your velocity. Can you just describe how that story went?
Yeah, I'll take you through it. I mean, coming out of high school, I had some Division II offers, so it was kind of fringe in between D2, D3. I wasn't really looking at professional baseball as a realistic thing at that point. I kind of just wanted to play, wanted to be on the field. So going D3, I knew I was going to play. Struggled my freshman year, my sophomore year. At the end of my sophomore year is when I got my type 1 diabetes diagnosis. I'd lost a bunch of weight. But yeah, to get that health situation worked out, just get quality of life really before anything.
Sure.
And then my junior year, I had a great year, and my senior year ended up being the 2020 season. So we only played about 10 games before that got shut down. Got the extra year eligibility, transferred to Gardner-Webb. Kind of throughout that whole 2020, going into 2021, really bought into the weight room and, went kind of all in on baseball. So to have that step where I went from D3 to D1 was big just for me personally, but also, showing teams and scouts, that jump. So, yeah, that was kind of the journey to that point, and then I got drafted out of Gardner-Webb. So you weren't on the radar at all, going into high school, into college, and then your first year of college? Out of high school for sure. After I got the diagnosis and had a good year at Waynesburg, I think think there were some area scouts sniffing around, but once the draft got cut to 5 rounds in 2020, I obviously wasn't going to be a guy that would go in those top 5 rounds.
So you spent 3 years at Waynesburg?
4 years.
4 years?
2020 being the 4th year, so
Okay.
three and a half actually at the school. But I did 4 years there academically and finished with my degree.
So when did you start to see the gradual, or like the huge increase in your velocity? Like, how did you first start seeing it build?
So before I got diagnosed, coming out of high school, I was probably upper 80s. And before I was diagnosed, I ended up losing weight my sophomore year. So I was probably sitting in the low 80s before I was diagnosed in 2018, and put on a bunch of weight again, kind of weight I already had, but just gaining it back, and then a little additional. And 2019 season, I was 92, 94 for the most part. Senior year before COVID shut everything down, 94, 96 probably. So really just incremental gains after the diagnosis and getting back to where I was before I lost the weight.
And then when you went to Gardner-Webb, you were that's when you started seeing it get up.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of 98, 99s early in games, and dropped down to like 96, 97 later in the game. But I think somewhere in there I probably touched 100.
Yeah.
But
you
just really didn't get to see it. Yeah.
Didn't have the radars like that back.
Yeah.
This times are hard with the schools. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
So when you get drafted, right, or when you start talking to teams, and you're in that situation where you're talking to teams, you're talking to, scouts, cross-checkers, etc. Was that something that you sort of envisioned for yourself? Like, what was your reaction to that?
I mean, when I transferred to Gardner-Webb, that was my goal, was to play professional baseball. I'd had a couple calls, a couple things before, which kind of gave me that inkling, that idea that it was a realistic kind of possibility. But yeah, when I transferred, that was kind of my going all in to play professional baseball.
And then once you get to the minors, obviously you had a couple of injuries, I think, at UCL, surgery, repair, but like, what's sort of been your path to the majors, just to describe, because it seemed just to really happen on the fly. Like, once you got here, it seemed like boom, like here he is. I mean, at least for me, when I first saw you, I was like, whoa, like, and it made me say to, like, even a couple of guys back there, the reporters, I'm like, dang, the A's have some arms back there in the bullpen. Like, they have some things going on. Like,
yeah, we do.
How quick did that sort of transpire for you?
Yeah, I mean, coming up last year was obviously really quick. Being in the organization we were in, and just kind of the level of competition that the teams played to these past couple of years. Obviously, there's room for movement through the minor league system, and I think despite the injuries that I've had, I'd shown enough when healthy that it was dominant stuff. The knowledge to prep for a lineup, pitch to a hitter's weakness, but also not stray too far from my strengths. And then really coming this year, making the transition to the bullpen has been just more opportunity, and taking those opportunities, running with it, and showing that my stuff plays really, really well. In the zone, getting chase, getting strikeouts, kind of all those things that make a pitcher elite in the game these days.
When you're looking at, I guess, sort of, you've seen couple of starters, relievers become starters now. Obviously, you've seen starters become relievers, but you've been a starter in the past. Is that something that's on your plate in terms of want to be a starter again, or are you fine just where you are?
Not right now. I mean, hopefully I have a long career and I get the opportunity to get back in a rotation at some point. But I think at this point, given how the past couple of years have went, this is the best place for me. Obviously, having success, it's really difficult to go away from something like that. So I think that's the place I'm providing value to the team right now, and that's where I see myself for the next couple of years.
Over there with the Red Sox, they talk a lot about, Andrew Bailey talks a lot about pounding the strike zone with your best stuff.
Yep.
And obviously your best stuff is really, really good. What's sort of your game plan, generally speaking, about just going into each outing, because it's a different role, right? Like, you don't have to necessarily turn over a lineup twice or 3 times. Like, what's sort of your mentality in that position?
Yeah, you're not worried about setting anything up or saving anything for a guy's second or third time through. You're going to see a guy, probably maximum 2 times in a series. But most of the time it's going to be 1 time. You might come in for 2 saves and it'd be the top of the order, or middle of the order, bottom of the order, whatever it might be. So just putting your strengths on his weakness, and unless he's in a position where one swing ties a game, it's kind of just challenge him. If he beats you, then you tip your hat and you go get the next guy. But yeah.
When you pitched in that series, I keep going back to, but when you pitched in that series against the Red Sox, was that sort of like perhaps like sort of like your arrival moment, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty solid spring, but at the end when opening day hits, nothing you did in spring training matters. I gave a couple runs to Cleveland in the opener for us, so yeah, I think for me, just getting back on the horse and having that strong 2-inning performance against these guys early in the year was big, not only for me, but obviously some people started to take note, like yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who are some of the toughest hitters for you to face, and sort of why?
I think a guy that just has a sound approach at the plate. There's dudes that are really, really strong hitters, and you get them to a certain count, and it's just like a spot you can go to get a swing and miss. But guys just that aren't swinging and missing. Guys that stick out for me so far were Jose Ramirez for the Guardians. He's put together a really good at bat. Not only taking like close pitches, but also kind of fouling off those tough ones too, and forcing me to throw another one. And then the more pitches you see, the better chance you have. Brandon Lau had a good at bat against me for the Rays, and then Julio took me deep to center field. He had a good at bat. I think that was one of the hardest pitches in the zone that's been hit for anything,
yeah, I remember
any
that
sort of
one.
damage.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't want to say it's been the only one, but I think it might be one of a few.
I think it was. I think you might be right. I think it was, because I remember when I saw it. It was like late at night, and I was like, and they had mentioned it on MLB Network that it wouldn't be one of the hardest. So like, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So I mean, just knowing statistics like that, where I'm not likely to give up damage by throwing my stuff in the zone, my heater specifically. That just gives you more confidence in attacking guys and coming right at them.
Last couple questions. When you face guys, right, from say like your division, is it harder, so to speak, to not necessarily game plan, but to have be able to throw your stuff consistently? Like, do you have to do anything different?
I think when a team's seen you a lot, then you kind of show them a different look sometimes. But at the same time, if you had success, why go away from that? Why deviate? So I think that's just the game within the game is, how you're going to plan for a guy, and then kind of think about how he's planning for you, kind of what he's seen so far. But yeah, that's part of why we love the game.
Oakland obviously has gone through its issues the past couple of years. Obviously last year playing in the Coliseum, organizationally, not even just speaking from people like Billy Owens, David Force, all those guys. What has that organization meant to you in terms of being able to help you grow, pitching coach, et cetera? Like, what has the organization meant for you, just for your growth?
Yeah, no, I mean, the biggest thing and probably the most exciting thing when I got drafted, obviously, outside of just getting the opportunity to play professional baseball, was an organization that has, so much upward movement and kind of not really getting stuck. You think of teams like Red Sox, Yankees, any perennial contender that really you think of just a backup of prospects, where it's like you're going to go here for a year and you can tell it doesn't matter how well you play, this is where you're going to be for the whole year. But yeah, just the faith they've had in me through the injuries, being an older guy, having kind of health background that might concern some. Just the repeated opportunity to go out and show I deserve to be here has been really, really empowering to me and really refreshing. Everybody's had a different journey to get here, and now that we're here, it's just about competing every day.
Last question. You're a Pittsburgh guy, so what are you, Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa? Like, what's your go-to?
I liked Wiz when I was younger.
Okay.
I've kind of gotten away from the hip-hop scene a little bit, but yeah, I mean, both can't go wrong with those guys, and it's super cool to have them representing the city. They both made a point to do that. So yeah, really easy guys to be fans of.
Nice. Land on that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.